Hey guys, welcome back. It's Limitless here. So before we get into this video, go ahead and like, subscribe if you haven't, and feel free to comment and all that fun stuff. Otherwise, you'll never guess what. A siege roller is going to come and it's just going to steamroll your eggs anytime you get them from the grocery store. I don't know about you guys, but sidewalk eggs don't sound good to me, so go ahead and hit that like button. Alright guys, so what we got going on today. I'm on floor 261 right here. And I'm going to be using a Petrifying Colossus build. And what this basically is, I've got poison proton beams here. And I'll count the DU out for you too. Well, there's the Colossus, there's a boost aura, and a tree. Now the flame aura is, well, these flame auras are for the flyers. They are not part of the lane, which is why I have them back far enough that they're not going to interfere with the Colossus. Normally, I would move them up just a bit because I could hit both, but I wanted this to not hit the enemies in the lane just to show this off. So, let's get into what we're using here. Let's see. Let's do the boost aura. I'm using Gilded Boosted Grasp, Vicious Strikes, Boosted Blockade, Gilded. Excuse me. So for this one here, we're going to be borrowing the relic from our poison ramsters, and we'll be using guild destruction, frosty beams. I should guild that, but you know how it is, don't always find them when you need them. And I'll be using automation instead of tenacity. Now on the Colossus itself, I'll be using this. I just made this relic earlier. I've been hoarding a bunch of the stuff that I need to make these relics because I got a video coming out eventually. But right now, this is where we're at, and I will demonstrate why. So first off, we got protective downgrade. So if I buff him just one level, which is 50 of the mana, then he'll get all the health from that level and the level below it before he's actually destroyed. Accumulator servo, every 10 seconds from him starting to take damage, he'll do area damage equal to 5 times his damage. And then there's earth servo, because obviously you need earth to work with the poison from the proton beams. We've got a gilded defense rate because obviously I don't have room for a defense rate servo. We've got explosive shielding guard because the bigger the wall, the bigger the effect. And then we have gilded fortification. Now he's got 70 million health at stage 1. Let me show you why I'm not using automation, and it's basically just because on my Colossus wall here, which, you know what, I'll go ahead and move him over so I can just pop on that, but if I step over here and take this fortification off, he'll drop to 49 million health. So rather than healing for 2% every 1.1 seconds with his attack, I'd rather just have a higher base to scale off of. And of course that will not only affect, you know, the longevity of the wall, but it will affect both the shield from the explosive shielding guard and the damage from the explosive shielding guard. So every 5 seconds he's got a chance to trigger a shield and an explosion for 5 times his health. And every 10 seconds while taking damage, accumulator servo goes off, dealing 5 times the damage he took. So it's basically a vicious combo there. Oh yeah, I should show that. So I've got 999 points into health, 20 points in defense speed, and the rest in Colossus damage. His damage is garbage, but he will hold a lane for you for a while. We're going to go ahead and buff him into stage 2. Goes up to 91 million health. And yes, that is part of the effect from the fortification. If I can get up here. I want to be out of the way so we can just watch. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make sure I got my range on. I do. Okay, let's start this up and see how it goes. Obviously not the best lane, but it's melee versus melee. So even though they have shields and all that, you guys will still get to see some kind of confrontation here. See that? He touched his shield and he petrified right away. That's the poison from that and the earth from him. Now he just took a tiny bit of damage, so the more times he takes damage, obviously the higher the chance he's gonna proc off an explosion shield After 10 seconds, though. Honestly, but it's just from playing the game. Like, oh, look at that. He's got a petrified bomber at him. That's a decent amount of health. And then, of course, you know, they're out here trying to stomp out my proton beam, which is not going to happen, and they're freezing. But yeah, honestly, I haven't had as much time as I'd wanted to be able to play and all that. So I'm just kind of trying to show some stuff off for you guys. Yep. Say goodbye to the monk. Just kind of what happens. But you can see he's holding his ground really, really well. Look at that. They even have a healer there. I think, if anything, I should probably take out that healer. Just because healers are annoying. And they're just going to keep healing them up rather than letting them die from trying to shut down my stuff. But, I mean, there's nothing against adding in hero help, so. And they've got more than one healer there, too, so. This is ridiculous. Oh, it accidentally procced my crossfire. See, I didn't do that. The proton beam did that. But I mean, look how easy that was. Yes, it took a little while, but I'm on floor 261. The enemies are like, what is it, 45,421? So 45,421, something like that. So the enemies are pretty high up there, and that's all the damage he took considering a bomb went off right next to him. We've got our, you know, 19.15 million tree. Come to think of it, I should show you what I've got on the tree too, so you guys see. It's basically the same thing from the Orc Blockade build, but I'm using the Orc Blockade Relic because I don't need it now. So that's what I've got on there. It's a pretty healthy tree, let's be honest, but the entire reason I have it is for the World Tree McBufferson. The Destructive Pylon is just because it kind of had a slot open and it helps out everything else. Now, what's nice about this too is, guess what? You can up the proton beam damage all you want. Say I want to buff him, next level then, sure. Boom. Up to 121 mil, 112 mil, and he's got 2 stages left to go. And say I want to buff the damage from the proton beam, sure, go for it. We'll do some buffing on Flame Wars so the flyers hopefully don't get through. Because I would rather not have to be babysitting them. And let's get hopefully back in position where I'm not lagging. There we go. Okay. Let's pop in here and see how this goes. Obviously I might have to run for other lanes, get bosses, whatever, but that's just kind of what happens in a game, so. Look at that. They're actually getting cut down by the proton beam right off. Kind of disgusting. Yeah, 45,421. And some of these are kind of healthy mobs too, so. As you can see, guys, there is a place for walls. I've made 2 places for them now. Technically 3 if you count the tree, but I don't always count the tree. So, because right now I'm not using it as a wall, I'm using it as a buff. Because it will shield for something like 3.1 times its health every 10-20 seconds on him. So he basically gets an extra health boost. It makes him so much tankier. Because I mean, even if it was just 3 times, that's almost a 60 mil shield. And then he can get his own shield for 2.5 times his own health. So, it's a very tanky way to go for a wall. The last time I showed a broken wall for... Oh. Yikes, bud. Probably didn't want to see that happen. you could not, bud. That'd be great. I don't know what you thought you were doing, but you're not getting away with it. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, legit, I almost didn't notice that Yeti. Look at how crazy that is. Oh, nice. That Dark Assassin petrified right off. It probably shouldn't be doing that, because I wanted to die, but not. Crossfire and Graze Infection my lane. Ah. You can see with the lag, it's pretty rough in this game, but... There we go, I'm sitting up there. Let's heal up for the next assassin, that'll probably happen. Because, you know, there never seems to be enough of them, right? And you see, he's still swinging, too. Now, this is not a DPS build, but say you've got to slow a lane down or whatever, boom, it's easy. And the nice thing about it, too, let's count the DU now. So, Proton Beam, that's 20 for the first node, 30 for the second, and finally 40 for the last node there. So 3 nodes, 40 DU. You got 80 for the big guy there. So that's 110. That makes it 150? Yeah, 110. Oh no, wait, that's 20, 30, 40. So that's 120. That's 160 with that, and then it's 180 with the tree. So it's an easy, you know, whatever setup. You can buff the damage on it, you can do whatever, you know. It's really whatever you want to do. If you wanted to go for no shield, you could drop this out, be down to 160, you know, and then you could drop in something for 40 or whatever. You could take this down one node, and then you could have it for an extra 50. You just kind of got to build to whatever you want to do with your lanes, so... Like, honestly, if I hadn't had that automation on that, they'd be just attacking the wall now. He'd be handling them, but... I kind of wanted to show how sad and disgusting this could be. Like, they're just hopeless right here. And he's just sitting there swinging on him. He's got a range of 800 attack range right there. Let's see. There it is. Oh, you can see it for a second. Oh! He came in his range. Got slapped. This is kind of just a fun way to include walls into your build. Because, I mean, let's face it, most people will never use walls. Like, maybe when they first start, but late game they're like, oh, walls are a waste of DU and they're worthless late game and all that. Well, I'm on 261, this wall's holding his own, so... Now, let's see. I got the mana. I may as well buff him all the way so you guys can see what he's maxing out at. So now, the nice thing about this, if you max him out like that, man, just take a second and be in awe of that. That spike hammer of his, it's double spiked, so it just looks so sweet with that earth servo on it. But anyway, 154. I think it was like 133 before. And so with his protective downgrade servo 10, if he gets knocked down a level, you know, well, if he gets destroyed, it'll knock him down a level. He'll get 100% of the previous level. So if that was like 133 mil before I fully upgraded him, then, you know, that's like a 287 mil wall. And then, of course, you got to factor in damage shields and everything. Like, the dude's a tank among tanks. Oh, there we go. I think next wave I'm going to buff the proton beam all the way up. I mean, the proton beam isn't bad. Right now it's at stage 3 and it's 1.53 mil DPS. For a lot of stages lower than this, that is easily enough DPS in a lane like that to really wipe out a lot of stuff out. But with this is kind of like a brutal punishment. Because with the gilded boosted grasp on that as well, then the moment they cross that line, they're getting extra slowed and all that fun stuff. Oh, my minimum ascension level? I think it's almost 3100. I'll show you in a second here, so you guys can finally see it for yourselves. Man, those effects are crazy. But even though, like, you gotta admit this, guys, like, you can tell I did not attempt to make a DPS lane here. I just made a slow and double stun lane. Hey, we're dead. Good stuff. So basically, kind of what's going on here, guys, is that the proton beam also has frosty beams. So when I say we've got double slow and double stun, proton beams naturally slow, and the boosted grasp on excuse me, on the boost aura also slows. Those stack. And then of course, you know, as far as the stun goes, we've got the frosty beams, which can obviously stun for 2 seconds on their own. And then when they come into contact with this guy with his Earth Servo, guess what? That's poison and Earth, so you get Petrifying. Wow, that was crazy looking. All those effects, man, it's just insane. Can I get heals? Kind of. Not enough. Ah, it was enough. Another one! Ah! Dark Assassins are being mean, man. Let me heal. I'm a little bit surprised I didn't just get killed there, but that's whatever. It's fun stuff. And also, guys, if you see like what's going on here, how they're kind of coming in, they're still getting petrified, but you know, you're just like perfectionist or whatever, and you want to make sure that they're really getting health. You can remove this and just replace it a little bit, but I don't care that much. It's doing a fine job as it is. Imperfections and all. So. Look at this monster. He's sitting there. He looks hurt, yet he's still got over 87 million health. It's just disgusting. So obviously the only two walls I use for actual tanking right now are the Orc Blockade and the Colossus, and those are both on the Abyss Lord. So. Now what's really disgusting about this guy is, and part of what I wanted to showcase at a later date, is that you can have one Colossus per Abyss Lord. So if you have extra Abyss Lords with extra relics and all that stuff set aside, then you can make extras. It's no problem. You just call out the individual heroes and keep summoning them, and you can have one for every lane if you make enough. That's the idea, by the way. What I want to show off later. I want to beat a stage using the Colossus on every lane. That would be a lot of fun. It'd be slow as crap, but it'd be a lot of fun. Alright, let's go ahead and speed that up a little bit. Alright, so we can heal him up. Bop. Easy money, like, look at that. The tree is basically hardly taking damage at all. I think that was probably from the Dark Assassin. Now you guys wanted to see my minimum ascension. Let's go into powers here, and you can see that there. So we've got 2298 with 756. So you can see I'm somewhere around like 3100. So, and then my level isn't too much above because I'm 3130. So it's pretty easy money. I can easily outclimb my current ascension level. It's just, you know, a matter of time in real life. So let's see here. Maybe we'll go ahead and drop some fun on that. Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Proton beam up. And keep in mind, too, guys, if you guys want to use this on, like, a thrower or a bomber lane, just include a reflect beam. It'll be a lot easier. Ah. That's really kind of weird, to be honest. I was noticing it before, but I moved. But it's like I'm standing on him. He's just a beast. He doesn't even care. Alright guys, you can see there's a lot of slows and stuns going on, but the proton beam is actually getting a lot of kills. Ooh, look at that. We got like thrown off the world there. And yeah, you guys can tell, I don't care about hero death at all. No, let's just stand on his back. Why not? To be honest, I should be taking care of the assassins, but who cares? Like, I just kind of, you know, do this thing and then do that. And then they come out and I can just, you know, do some of this. Just let them have a bad day like that and all. But, I mean, who's got the time and effort for that? Ah. There we go. We finally got up there. It's hard with this laggy movement sometimes. Let's see what he's doing. He's still got 119.5 mil health. Like, he's healthier than most people's entire arsenal of walls put together, and he's hurt. Look at that, instant petrify the moment he touched him. Disgusting. And the nice thing about this too is that even though petrify has diminished returns, it doesn't matter because they're not getting the petrify until they reach his range. Hey buddy, how you doing? There's only like 5 dudes left, like you should probably hurry this up. You can see, these guys are actually really healthy. I mean, they're orcs, you know, why wouldn't they be? And yet, they can't even come close to breaching this. It's just disgusting. Took advantage of a natural choke point there, and they're just having a really bad time. You know what? Heck, I got the mana. Let's upgrade that too. Why not? Now, the funny thing is, too, is that if I were to upgrade this, the more I upgrade it, the bigger that wall, that wall's shield will get. Because, let's show this off right here. Because it's World Tree McBufferson is what she's using, which I've shown that off before, but I didn't show the effect. It's right there. It's 3.1 times its health that it places on a blockade. Well, its health right now is 42 mil, so even at 3 times, that, you know, that's over 126 mil. So I mean, it just depends how disgusting you want this to be. It's whatever you want. Oh, that's nasty. And guys, too, another thing you can do, rather than just moving that proton beam, you could also, you know, go sell a lightning strikes or whatever, and that would get you another 2 nodes if you wanted to do that. But I'm having a good time, so just leave it alone. Look at this. This is not a high DPS setup by any means. Like, I'm not using a mass destruction on it, it's just a destruction. And they're having this hard of a time with this nasty build. Let's see, I probably need to help that out a bit. Just to make sure that hopefully he dies. Man, that lag. Hi. Where's Thork at? Is he in here? I hope so. Gosh, look at that. They're trying so hard and they just can't do anything. Like, I mean, they're up the creek without a paddle, man. This is hopeless. All I got left is those guys and these guys. See, I'm using a bit of a different build over there. Because since I'm already using the poison proton beams, I just use them over there instead of the poison ramster. So you can see they're having a nasty time as well. But this one has a nasty time with a big immovable wall that you're just never going to win against. It's disgusting. And if you guys wanted to make him last longer too, you could totally, instead of going for damage, you could totally go for like a Fortitude servo or, you know, a Hardened servo for when he's at low health. But I mean, the way he's doing so well, I wouldn't want to use a Hardened servo. Yep, Thork's over there. Yeah. There we go. Have fun with it, right? I mean, it's my map, might as well do what I want. Ooh, that was nice. Can I get a heal, please? Thanks. Add that to my own heal. Now, obviously, this is not as tanky as when I was doing the... Well, I'm saying the hero is not as tanky as when I was doing the Skeletal Orc. Because that one got me crazy heals. Yeah, I mean, we're at the last 15 enemies. Like, we're on 261, and this felt like I was on like 30. Like, I mean, it wasn't even the beginning of the contest. Alright, I think we're going to go ahead and see if we can help them out here a little bit. There we go. Nice and pretty. And if you guys notice, we're at nearly 3.1 mil health. Thanks, man. Like, I mean, just the way I exploited this here, it really was easy, because once again, you know, we've got poison proton beams that have frosty beams on, so they've got a 2-second stun on their own, and then with the poison and his earth, whenever he contacts them, they petrify. And then, of course, we've got extra slow from the boost aura that's reaching that far ahead of him. So it's easily in his range of 800. And then, of course, he can shield up and do double explosions along with the shield from the tree. So he's got... It feels like infinite health at times. Alright, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, go ahead. Remember to like that video, subscribe if you haven't, and we will see you next time. God bless, guys. Have a great day.